Let me guess, you delivered solid work, maybe even got some great results for a client in your agency, and they still churned. I know the feeling because I've been through this many times running my own agency as well as working closely with hundreds of other agency owners in my current job. I see churn happen up close in a whole bunch of different ways every day. But what I've noticed is a pattern that the reason a client leaves almost always comes down to the same two things that I'm able to share with you in this video. And if you fix those, you can retain your agency clients for years instead of months. Let's get into it. So the first thing that triggers client churn comes down to broken trust, and it almost always starts in one or two ways. Communication goes quiet or the results don't show up. A client can handle a bad month or two if you're being straight with them, but what makes them want to leave is that they feel you're not in control and they have to chase you down to figure out what's going on. And by the time you actually turn it around and fix it, they have already been thinking about leaving you for a while. The second thing is internal chaos. What some agencies will try to do is they scale without putting the right structure in place. So they take on more clients, the team gets stretched, and the quality of work starts to take a hit. And here's the thing. The client isn't seeing your internal situation. They don't care about it too. They're just noticing the output just got worse. Now, neither of these has to do anything with your actual capabilities, which is important to remember. You can be doing great work and still lose the client, because once they lose trust in you, it doesn't really matter how good the work is. They've already made up their mind. So the fix for both of those problems starts with something that you already have access to. From the day you close a deal, your client will never say no for a meet with you, and they will always say yes whenever you reach out. Now, typically agencies use this time to run through updates and timelines. But what that best ones do is use the time to move from vendor to partner. Vendors execute what they are told and let the client run the relationship, whereas partners are who the client calls when they need to make an important decision. Partners are someone the client actually trusts to figure out the right answer for their business. That's what makes you someone a client is terrified to lose. And this only happens when you stop waiting for direction and start providing it. If something isn't working, bring a recommendation before even the client asks for it. When you spot a bigger opportunity, bring it up, even if it falls outside your current scope. That's how you become someone they can't imagine working without. And that partner dynamic doesn't just show up in your meetings. It shows up every week in the progress updates and the reports you send. That's where clients actually feel whether you're on top of the things or not. Most agencies treat those updates as the wrong thing though. They focus on the activity, the metrics, and getting all the data right, but they miss the big picture. Every report should answer these three things. Where is the business now? Where is it heading? And whether you are making progress towards clients' goals. If it doesn't answer those three things, the report you spent hours creating becomes useless. Believe it or not, the best agencies I've seen doesn't even lead with the full report. They send a quick email that's just a few lines, nothing more. Next time you send a report, tell them where things stand, what you are doing next, and if something's off, exactly how you are fixing it. If you choose to attach a full report, make sure it looks pristine and professional. If the presentation looks crappy, the client assumes the work behind it is crappy too. But a clean, tight report signals that you're on top of the work. And if building those reports every week is taking up your time, trust me, you are not alone. Agencies typically spend around 4 hours a week just pulling the data together, which is why I built 2-minute reports. It connects all your ad and e-commerce platforms and pulls everything into Claude for you. You can also pull everything into Google Sheets or Looker Studio reports automatically. If you want to try it out for free, just click the first link in the description. The last thing I want to talk about happens before a prospect even becomes your client. Not every client can actually be retained, because not every client wants to become a partner. Some of them just want tasks completed. While that is fine, it's not a relationship you can build on. The agencies that keep clients long term are ruthlessly selective about who they take on. They only work with clients who want to be challenged and who trust them to figure things out and make hard decisions. Because if the client is making all the decisions, they are holding all the accountability. You are just a pair of hands, and hands can always be swapped out. So when you are evaluating a new prospect, the question isn't just whether they're a good fit strategically, but also if they actually want a partner or just someone who can execute a checklist. If it's the later, don't even bother. That relationship is guaranteed to come to an end. Now, if you want to nail the reporting aspect we talked about earlier, which is probably taking hours of your team's time and where you will feel the biggest difference in your client relationships, then check out 2-minute reports by clicking the first link in the description. You can even start for free. It's the one thing clients will see every single week, and also something that will compound trust over time. When you get this right, everything else we talked about is a lot easier. So again, you can start using it for free by clicking the link below. And if you want to learn more about growing your business, then watch this video.